What is going on YouTube? Smash Bros. Pro 33 here, bringing you another Pokemon Black and White Wi-Fi battle. As you can see, I have a brand new sort of team preview thing that I custom make for every single battle from now on, or at least until I find something better. What I basically did, I just custom sized every sprite from each team and made it into this. So I hope you guys like that. Something new, something fresh, along with that new intro I made about 3 or 4 videos ago. Hope you guys enjoy that as well. And this is a fairly enjoyable OU match, and I'm just bringing it to you guys, number one, because it was a savable Wi-Fi battle, and even though, I mean, there are better battles, but it was a good battle nonetheless. I hope you guys enjoy that, and thank you, Choice Specs, for the new webcam. It is great. Better quality videos than ever before. Don't have to rely on that potato anymore, and I bet you guys are happy about that. So, without further ado, let's get into team preview. Now, looking at my team, it's virtually the same as my regular standard sand team, except I replaced Lucario with Yanmega because I feel like the Lucario slot can be interchangeable. I've used Kyurem on that slot. I've used Yanmega, Lucario, Scizor once. And looking at his team, I see that Dragonite is most likely a really big threat, because if it's Dragon Dance, then I really need to play carefully around it. Have to take out the Politoed as quickly as possible to help win the Weather War. Toxicroak isn't really an issue. Scrafty can be kind of a pain if it sets up, and Skarm is Skarm. I have a couple of things to deal with it. And then the Rotom Wash is Rotom Wash. Just, you know, the annoying Rotom Wash that it is. But that's enough for team preview, and now let's get into the battle, shall we? So he's going to lead off with his Rotom, predictable Scarf Rotom lead, you know, all the good Volt switching and the Hydro pumping and all that good stuff. So he's going to go for the Volt switch here. I'm not concerned because this Celebi is max HP, and it's just going to take that like a sir. Not a big deal at all, and I'm going to go for the T-Wave on the incoming Skarmory, which isn't that beneficial, but then again, paralyzing a Skarmory isn't too bad either, because, you know, you can get Para Hacks and all that good stuff. But anyway, I'm going to go for the HP Fire, and that doesn't do too much. I didn't expect it to be more than a 3-hit KO, but he whirlwinds me out, and I go into my Vaporeon, and I'm going to go for the Scald here for extra damage, because, well, Vaporeon can put a pretty decent chunk in that Skarm. I mean, come on, that was, I don't even know. I don't have any investment, but that did just as much as the HP Fire, if not more. Not really understanding the concept behind that, but anyway, I'm going to go for another Scald, you know, because I can. And I get a crit here. I'm pretty sure that mattered, but it didn't really in the long run, except for the fact that he didn't get the chance to set up hazards. So, in comes Rotom Wash. I do not want to take the Electric type move, so I'm going to switch into my Tyranitar. Now, the switch was fairly obvious, so he could have gone for Hydro Pump, but since it's very early game, I'm fairly confident that he doesn't want to go for the Water move. So, now he's going to go into his Wayne everywhere, his Politoed here, just to set up his Weather and negate mine. As I'm going to bring back out Mermaid Man, thinking I'm going to be taking the Water-type move, but he predicts that very nicely, goes for the Toxic, and now my Vaporeon's survivability is cut by quite a bit. It's not a huge concern, but it's something to watch out for. So I'm going to go back into Tyranitar, because he's obviously not going to go for a Water move on Vaporeon, but actually he predicts that pretty well, goes for the Scald here, and he ends up getting the Burn, which kind of sucks because Tyranitar is a pretty physical powerhouse, and we all know what Tyranitar can do. But anyway, the Burn is going to cut his survivability, so I'm going to have to play Tyranitar very carefully in order to win the Weather War. Well, he's going to go for Ice Beam on the incoming Vaporeon, another good prediction on his part. But then again, no, he doesn't carry HP Grass, he's the defensive set, what am I saying? But the Toxic damage isn't racking up yet because it's the first turn, obviously. And he's going to go for another Ice Beam, predicting me to stay in. And I'm going to go for a Wish, because I want to pass it to Tyranitar, and I know I can take a hit from the Politoed, especially in the sand, as opposed to the rain. So I'm pretty confident in being able to pass this switch regardless. But he's going to make the switch into his Toxic Croak, I guess predicting me to either A, go for the water move, or B, go into my Tyranitar, which I do now, and I get pretty much all my HP back, or I do get all my HP back from the Wish, and now Tyranitar is set to take more hits, set up the sand, and do its job. So now I'm going to go to my Gliscor here because this is the Acrobat set and can deal with Toxic Croak very nicely, as both of its stabs are super effective to Toxic Croak, and he realizes that there's no point in even staying in with the sub, as I'm going to go for the EQ on the incoming Politoed, and that was a good play on his part because his Politoed is defensive, even though that Earthquake did actually do quite a bit. And judging by that, I know for a fact, 1, that I would speed the Politoed because he has no speed investment. 2, the Acrobatics with Flying Gem Boost will in fact KO from that range, judging by the Earthquake damage. Now, this Scrafty here is a very, very good physical counter if you ask me. And there actually is pun intended because I'm going to go for the Acrobatics here, thinking, oh, I can just OHKO this thing, but he has counter. So he said that this was the one definite counter to Main Shout, and I agree. This thing can take out Main Shout easily. So now I'm going to go into my Yanmega, just go for the Air Slash, pick it off, because there's really no point in it for him to save his Scrafty, because if I got Hazards up, he could die on switching. And just, there's no point in really keeping that Scrafty, to be honest. So I'm going to go for Air Slash again because this is a choice specs Tinted Lens Yanmega. I could have gone for the Bug Buzz, and that actually would have done more to his Dragonite because of Tinted Lens, but I figured Air Slash was the safer play. But I'm going to go to Celebi now because I know I'm physically defensive and I can take pretty much any hit this Dragonite wants to go for, even at +1. And he's going to go for another Dragon Dance, as I am going to take his Lumberry away, as I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave, knowing full well he does have the Lumberry, but my Celebi can take pretty much any hit this Dragonite wants to throw at me. And he's going to go for the Extreme Speed now, and that was at +2. Look how well he took that. That is just the power of physically defensive Celebi. And now I'm going to go for the T-Wave to cripple the speed of it so it doesn't outspeed anything, and I can come in with pretty much anything and take a big dent out of its HP. And because its multi-scale is broken, I figure I can go for the Stone Edge on this Dragonite, get some good damage off, but I miss, which kind of sucks because it does end up playing a role in how well I play around this Dragonite, as he is going to go for the Outrage, and that is going to clean take out my Tyranitar because I'm not physically defensive. And I'm going to go for Vaporeon because I kind of have to. And I'm going to go for the Protect here just to block the Outrage, get the Confusion up on him. And turns out he gets Parahaxed, so the Confusion happens anyway. And I believe now I go for the Wish, predicting his Parahax or whatever. And that actually does end up happening, which kind of sucks, because it's basically self-induced Parafusion, so it's going to be tough for him to land the attack. And the toxic damage is kind of racking up now, but I definitely want to get back up to the point where I feel I can take a hit from this. And he's going to get Parahaxed again, which really sucks on his part, because I don't like when people get Parahaxed. Just see Castador Perfect's video with his UU battle against me, and you'll see why. But anyway, now I'm back up to over half, so I feel like I had a good opportunity to switch out into my Heatran. And I feared he didn't want to go for the Outrage because he didn't want to risk getting hurt and confusion even more. And I'm going to go on to Heatran here because I know he's paralyzed. I know I can take this thing out with a Dragon Pulse. As he goes through the Extreme Speed, gets some decent damage off. And Heatran took that pretty well despite him being at +4, so kudos to that. I'm going to go for the Dragon Pulse, and because this is the offensive Heatran set, it will be able to take out the Dragonite no problem from half. And now he's going to bring in this Rotom, and he runs Thunder on a Scarf Rotom. I'm not complaining because Thunder is this most powerful move on the electric stab side, of course. And I'm going to go for the HP Grass, and that does a little less than half. I expected it to do a little more. But then again, Rotom is actually pretty naturally, especially bulky. Well, now I'm going to go to Celebi because he's choiced into Thunder. And he's just going to fire this thing off. And he ends up getting the para on the Thunder, which isn't a big deal because Celebi has Natural Cure. And I'm just going to recover all that off. And I believe I get to just about full after lefties or something like that. I'm at like 90% now. So he's just going to go for another Thunder just to get whatever damage he can. Not a big deal at all. I'm just going to go for the Giga Drain, pretty much get it all back, which is really cool because now the Celebi is set to take hits a lot more readily. And I believe he is down to one more Pokemon, which is his Toxicroak. Yep, his Toxicroak is left, and this thing's going to cause a little substitute shenanigans, all that good stuff. But I'm going to get Parahaxed here, which kind of sucks because I'm not able to get the Hidden Power Fire off and his sub because Giga Drain's resisted, and so I don't want to go for that. What I should have done is switch to Yanmega a little sooner, but after he set up the sub, I'm like, I have to take this thing out now with HP Fire, so he's going to set up second bulk up as I get Parahaxed again. So it does make up for when his Dragonite got Parahaxed, so I'm not really complaining. And he's going to go for a third bulk up as I managed to hit him with the HP Fire, and I believe this doesn't even break the sub, which I don't know how. Maybe it blocks the Dry Skin ability. I'm not sure. Because he is running Dry Skin on it because he's running a Rain Team. Why else would you run Toxicroak and OU in the first place? And he's going to go for, I believe, a fourth bulk up. He's either at +3 or +4. I'm pretty sure he's +3, though. Anyway, I'm going to go for the second HP Fire. And because I pretty much know that my Yanmega can outspeed Toxicroak, I can bring it in fairly safely. So I'm going to switch to Yanmega now because I know he's not going to substitute because he wants to take out my Celebi. He's going to go for the Sucker Punch, and it fails, obviously, because I switch. And I didn't really predict the Sucker Punch in that case, but it helped that I switched. But basically, the end of the game is I live with 22 HP on a +3 Sucker Punch, take him out with the Specs Air Slash, and that is the game.